Hey Clashers, we have sneak peek number 2 for the Town Hall 18 update, and this means we have a new signature defense for Town Hall 18, we have a new spell coming for Town Hall 16 and above, and new seasonal defenses. But let's kick things off with the new defense, and this is changing the mode depending on how many buildings are destroyed. Which means it's starting into the attack completely deactivated. As the first 5 buildings are getting destroyed, we have a heavy hitting single target defense. When 20 buildings are destroyed, you have the shots bouncing to one more target and the attack speed being increased. And if 40 buildings are destroyed, you have an even higher attack speed, and those shots are getting another bounce for another target. And if you have this thing stacked up, it's scary. This is going to come with one additional level. You can upgrade it with the Dark Elixir. And I can just recommend this one because this defense is going to be a game changer. Supercell has now created a new defense which works kind of like the Eagle Artillery, where you have to plan around your attack. Because take a look at this now with the Warden Charge. This is a fully stacked with 40 buildings destroyed defense, and it's just melting through the Warden. If you have this defense on the back end, any Warden Charge attack is going to fall short. You need to plan around it. The same thing with Root Riders, for example. So let's switch this over and have some Visitors for tanking. They're not really doing any damage. And just take a look at, even with healers, how quickly those Root Riders are going down. It is crazy. As well, this new tower is a really good counter, finally, for the Overgrowth spell. Because if you put it into the core and people are using their overgrowth on it, well, it is still going to stack up, and this means you have to take it out on the back end, which can be a big problem. Instead, you want to have this defense going down early to really make sure that not this is happening, what is happening right now on your screen. Dragons as well are getting melted. Anything is going down as soon as this defense gets into the last and final mode, which is reached as soon as 40 buildings are destroyed. But now we have something really strong for defense. Let's take a look at the offense, because this new spell is a game changer. It's going to be one of the most, the strongest spells in the game. But what does it do? It is pretty much a tank you can summon anywhere in the base, and it has up to 13,000 hit points, and it's only 1 spell capacity. On top of that, it is having a stun around it to make sure that defenses are retargeting, and if you deploy close enough, all those defenses are going to be on it, and your troops are going to stay safe. It feels like a way better skeleton spell. But, important, you cannot trigger spell towers like a Rage or a Poison Tower with them, and you can as well not lure out the clan cards with them. That would be a little bit stupid, not gonna lie. So instead, you have to use it in many different ways, and there are actually a ton of different use cases, and I would predict that pretty much every army is going to run 1 or 2 out of this, from this spell. The first thing, you can see it right here, if there's too much damage on your Warden or any troop, you just deploy it, and even Guardians are going to be reset, or heroes, or defenses, or anything, because you have the short stun duration, and this makes sure that troops are going to retarget or defenses, and that's just a huge deal. The other reason on how you can use it is this thing is getting targeted by air and ground. So you can tank air defenses, you can even tank sweepers to make sure that blimps are reaching its target. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, blimps are back. Super wizards were buffed, super minions were buffed, different blimp types are for sure back, which means that's really a really interesting meta then on Town Hall 18. Another use case now is for the Flameflinger, which means usually if there's a corner expo, you have to take down the expo with rocket loons, or you can just not use the Flameflinger over there. Now instead, you can just use one of those totem spells right in front of your expo, and if nothing else is firing at it, 13,000 hit points, an expo takes forever to get through that. Up to I think 30-40 seconds or something crazy. Which means the Flameflinger is safe for sure. Take a look at the hit points of that totem, not going down whatsoever, even though the expos keep firing. And this is going to be a really big game changer of setting up your Flameflinger, because this is now way easier if you have the multitasking. The siege obviously is still one of the most highest skill ceiling sieges in the game, but now you have more and different tools to really work with it. Let's continue though, because we have the seasonal defenses coming, which means they're not going to be in the update itself. They're going to release after the update. No specific date mentioned so far. The first one is the hero bell. This one, as long as it's alive, is going to buff the stats of your heroes. Its special legend mode, it's going to work together with the modifiers, so it can be usable for sure over there, but in my opinion, it is the weakest out of those three options. The bomb pipe, in my opinion, is just the by far best, because it has long range, it deals a ton of damage, and it counters the Royal Champion charge. Yep, whenever I hear that, I am happy. Because let's take a look at an example on how you can counter the Royal Champion charge. Because if you set up a base where the Royal Champion has to charge in from a certain direction, so let's imagine at the top side there would be no defenses, so the Royal Champ would need to enter through those mortars. Take a look at what happens. Yes, there are some spring traps as well, but mostly the damage taken, especially as well to the Fox, are from the bombs. Take a look at how much damage they deal. There as well splash damage, which means it's even stronger than some things we had in the past. So it is pretty much a mortar crusher, which is having limited things when it comes down to the angles. But if you set up a base properly and make sure that you have those lines of defenses where troops are then having to go towards the defense on a really long, small defense path, is not going to be fun. And this time around, dragon and air attackers cannot hide, because this thing attacks air and ground. And this means this time we have a seasonal defense which seems to have no weaknesses, because as long as you set it up properly, which means the Royal Champion pathing into the bombs, the troop pathing on the long side, alongside the fly pathing of the bombs, you have something really which can cover all of those different things you want to defend. Air, ground, Royal Champion charge. Let's see if it's going to be as popular as I would think, but I think we should take a look as well as the last final seasonal defense, because I feel like that one is kind of right in between the hero bell and the bomb pipe, which means it is the light beam. This defense is really interesting because it has a crazy long range, and as troops are closer to the tower, it's dealing even more damage. The problem here though is that as soon as troops are getting close, a lot of times that building is already gone. But let's take a look now at the new shop. We have the fancy shop where you get points depending on upgrades you put into temporary content. You're going to get 10 points for supercharges and 8 points for the upgrades from the seasonal defenses. This as well goes back in time for everything which you have done in the past. And as soon as the update comes out, you can buy something in the fancy shop here. Obviously, the biggest deal being the meteorite builder, which means we have now builder skins in the game, which you can then unlock and then activate in your village. They have different animations compared to the original builders, and as well they're just looking different. So let's buy it, let's activate it, and let's take a look at how this looks, especially in-game. Because remember, if you are a high enough town level, those builders are as well showing up on your defense because they are repairing buildings. And this is now where we're starting with the problems, at least in my opinion. To me, this animation looks cool, but as well it's kind of distracting, kind of the same as what we had with the decorations. Because if you take a closer look, to me it kind of looks like that something else is attacking that ricochet cannon, right? We have the Royal Champion at the top side throwing her spears, but we have as well this weird looking explosion at the ricochet cannon. So, good, but maybe distracting. Let's figure out how this is going to be received by all of you. Let me know in the comments if you like it or dislike it. But overall, I like the approach with the skin set for the builders. The next thing I want to show you is finally a quality of life change, I assume, which is if there is a defending hero which is dying and your troops are close by, it is pretty much getting invisible. Which means so far, those heroes are always on top, like layer-wise, they will always block your troops. But now, as something is getting close, you can see with the minion prince is getting kind of transparent, and you can look through. I don't know why they're not completely hiding it, whatever the reason might be, but at least they're doing it now like this, which is already a huge step, and finally you can see troops behind that defending heroes. Another change is coming to the rank system. The first change here is that event troops are now no longer available anymore in ranked, in Clan War, or in Clan War League. You cannot use them over there anymore, which means now Supercell can go completely crazy when it comes down to the balance, because they're only available in their regular farming mode anyways. Another thing now is with the demotion when you're inactive, which means you have not played for 1 week. If you're signing up before the next Tuesday, then you're actually not getting demoted. You will now have as well an in-game visual show up, which will show you that, which makes it more clear. As well, the promotion and demotion in the different leagues were changed a little bit, so more people are getting promoted, but as well, some more people are getting demoted to make sure that if you're really close to the top ranks, you still really make the cuts. But let's take a look at some of those example attacks for maxed out Town Hall 18. I already told you, I think Super Wizard blimps and blimps in general are back. You can combine that with Hydra, for example, because in my opinion, while the Royal Chamber Charge is still strong with dragons, one of the biggest things he went for as a dragon attacker was the Town Hall. But now this Town Hall, you cannot Royal Chamber Charge it anymore, because the Guardian is not as easy to get Royal Chamber charged. So instead, I feel like a Blizzard Blimp is doing a really great job for this approach. And yes, I have missed the backhand sweeper, but let's not talk about that. We now put those dragons in from the top side. As well, dragons, I feel like, are, even though they have not received a new level, are quite strong because you have the new level for the Dragon Riders. If you mix like 3 to 4 from them in your army, you're moving way quicker through the base because they have gotten just a massive buff on the DPS side. Like 40 DPS or something more for Dragon Riders, that is quite a big game changer. As well, the addition of the totem spell is really nice, because you now might think, iTzu, you have the new defense, the Revenge Tower, on the back end. You are cooked. This is not going to work out. Let me show you a really cool trick which you can go for when it comes down to really countering this Revenge Tower. The totem spell does exactly that, because you can just use it and place it somewhere different than where your troops are. You can see the Revenge Tower and the Fire Spirit are firing at this spell, at the totem, and the shots are not bouncing because they were targeting that in a different direction. So you can really see this totem spell is literally easily already a top 3 spell in the entire game. And I feel like if you're doing a mass Royal Champion charge, you can still do that, don't get me wrong, but you have to still use 1 or 2 out of those spells, because this is giving you so much power. And I feel like if you're not using this new spell, you're going to feel that by quite a bit on your offensive score, or like on your offensive strength, whatever you want to name it. On this one, and there's another important thing, it's going to be close in the end because it is the legend modifier. Now we're getting to the overall difficulty and what I think. If I would need to rank Town Hall 18, I feel like the easiest is to just give an example of Town Hall 16 and 17 so far. If I would need to rank Town Hall 16, it would be maybe like a 1 out of 5. Like, you can just look at a base and it's already surrendering. So 1 out of 5 for Town Hall 16. Then we have Town Hall 17, which I would rank on like a 2 out of 5. After the supercharges are gone, I would say maybe a 1.5 out of 5. But I would say Town Hall 18 is easily above a 3. Maybe a 3.3 or something. But like, long story short, Town Hall 18 is overall more difficult than what we have currently with Town Hall 17. So especially in Legend Modifier, you will feel the difference, and overkills are less common. So having a 3-star right there is already a great first start. The next thing is going to be pretty much the army, which I will most likely run in Legends because I fall in love with this quite a bit. I really like the approach here. I will still show you my final version of this because you all know I'm not the biggest fan of the Revive spell. So I will do still some changes here, but I've already done the first couple of changes where I have less Yetis, more Rocket Loons. But the overall concept here is to get a Fireball, which is setting up the pathing of your Lock Launcher dive. The Lock Launcher dive itself is supposed to go into the base with the Queen together, while the Yeti, Baby Dragon, and as well the King are funneling your troops. The Royal Champion can be used for funneling as well, or for example just for backhand power, while the Warden with the Furnaces are just wrecking the other half of the base. That is pretty much the entire concept you're looking for. As well, the defending Guardians are not as problematic with this one, because, well, you are funneling everything into them. A lot of the other strategies are struggling or are going to struggle with the pathing into that Guardian. Especially Root Rider attacks might struggle there. But hey, I mean, like, it's like Root Riders. It's the Root Riders, right? Like, it will be still the #1 strategy in the game. I mean, not really surprising, right? But you have now more counterplay, I assume. Still, the core is gone. We have now the totem spell on the back end, exactly as I said. If you're talking about defending hero, guardians, and everything like that, this totem spell is such a big game changer. You can just deploy it anywhere, and you are going to have a lot of impact on the attack. On this one, I feel like the revive again was completely useless. I could have just kept the Royal Gem alive, and this would have been complete big game changer, right? Like, it's, yeah, it is like whatever. But this attack is crushed anyways. We have plenty of spells left. We have even some rocket loads left, which we can use on the back end. But this is for sure something which I will cover in the future, as I like this strategy quite a bit. And you can clearly see it. It's quite strong. You can feel that already. But overall, I will then share more videos about strategies. But as soon as Town Hall 18 is going to be released, I will share with you for sure the upgrade guide as usual of what should upgrade in which order. So you have the max power when it comes down to defending and getting your offensive strength into the right position as quickly as possible as well. Because some things are just really, really good to use. And while the Revenge Tower, well, as well, the season defenses are going to be crazy strong, this totem spell, I mean, I cannot stretch this enough how strong this is going to be. So this is quite interesting as well. Another thing, because I feel like not everyone has noticed this, is I just want to again remind you, modifiers are not affecting Guardians right now, which means the jump between Legends in the normal game won't be as big because pretty much the Town Hall weapon is non-affected by the modifiers. I assume this is going to change in the future, but just so you know, a quick reminder from my side. Otherwise, that's it. That's the last sneak peek already. We had 2 big sneak peeks this time around for the Town Hall 18 update. No threat or whatever. And this means we're all ready for the update. Let's hope that it's going to drop really soon and that we can all get Town Hall 18 on our hands and the new features like the fancy shop and everything about it. Let me know what your favorite part of the update is. Maybe as well the one which you dislike the most. Either way, I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next Clash video. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.